this is homework set 23. We're going to do some applications. That means word problems. Well, we're given that a triangle has a perimeter. Now, that's the length around. So it's a triangle has a perimeter of 40 inches. I'm just going to draw some random triangle here. All right, here's some triangle. Now, I know that the length around it, right, this length, this length, plus this length, plus this length is 40 inches. Now, the medium side is 5 more than the short side. So here's the medium side, I guess. This is 5 inches longer than the short side. And the longest side is 3 times the length of the short side. So find the length of the shortest side. Find this length. Now here's how I'm going to do this. I'm going to introduce a variable first. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say let x equal the length of the shortest side. Now, not just because that's what I'm trying to find, but because if you look at the medium side, that's given in terms of the short side, right? The length of the medium is given in terms of the short. The length of the medium is given in terms of the short, and the length of the long is given in terms of the short. Everything is based on this one right here. So that's our base quantity. So let x equal this one. Now, if I do that, if I label this as x, then what do I know about the next one? All right, the medium side is 5 more than, that's an addition, 5 more than the short side. So the medium side would be the short side plus 5, right? 5 more than the short side. And then what else do I know? What's this one here? Well, the longest side is 3 times. That's a multiplication. 3 times the length of the short side. So the short side is 3 times that length of the short side to get me that longest side. So now I've got unknowns for all of these. And if I add them up, I'll get the perimeter. So here's what I know. I know that the perimeter is equal to the length around, all right? The length around, that's going to be x plus 5 plus 3x. But the perimeter is 40. So we know that 40 is equal to x plus 5 plus 3x. So 40 is equal to, all right, x, and x is 2x, and 3x, 5x plus 5. Now we can solve this. Subtract 5. So 35 is equal to 5x. Divide. X is equal to 7. Now, be careful. What is x? We have to be sure we're going to answer the question we're being asked. What is x? X is back up here. That's the shortest side. So here's what I'm going to say. Find the length of the shortest side. All right. So I'm going to now claim that the length of the shortest side is 7 inches. Question 2. Let's read this. It says the length of a rectangle. Now, as soon as I see something in geometry and I can draw it, I'm going to do that. Here's a rectangle. Just draw any old rectangle. Then what do we have? The length of the rectangle. Now here's the length, the way I've drawn it, the way I think of it. And here's the width. So here's what we know. The length of the rectangle is 4 meters less than 2 times the width. The perimeter is 34 meters. Find the width. All right, so a lot of stuff going on here. Let's just take it one part at a time. Here's what we're trying to find. Find the width. So you know what I think I'll do? I'll let x equal the width. So x will be the width. Now we need to get a symbolic expression for the length. So what do I know here? It says the length is, all right, so the length is what? So here's the length coming up. It's 4 meters less than 2 times the width. Now, 2 times the width is this, but then it's 4 meters less. So subtract off 4, right? It's going to be 4 meters less than. When you see words like, or phrases like less than, more than, from, whatever follows it, that's where you start. So if it said from 2 times, I'd start with 2 times. Less than, more than 2 times, that's where I started. Start at 2 times and then minus 4. Now, we're also given that the perimeter is 34 meters, and the perimeter is the length of the round. So I'm going to write down, I drew a picture of what I have. Now, here's what I know. The perimeter, how about just P? P is equal to 34. But the perimeter is the length around it. So I would take this length, add it to this length, add it to that length, add it to this length. Or how about if I just do this? I'm going to say the perimeter is 2 of times those 2x minus 4s plus 2 of those x's. Does that make sense? The perimeter is, you have this one and this one, so I have 2 of those. So 2 of times plus 2 of these, so 2 of those x's. All right, and that's all equal to 34. All right, let's multiply through here. We'll get 4x minus 8 plus 2x equals 34. 4x and 2x will get 6x minus 8 equals 34. Now let's add that 8 to each side. I'll do it up here. So we'll get 6x equals 34 plus 8 is 42. Now you know you're doing it right when this 6 is going to divide evenly into that 42. So x is equal to 7. Now, all right, now this is not the answer. Right? Go back and look at the question. In word problems, you have to look at the question to see what you're being asked. Here's what we want to know. Find the width. Okay, so what is x? Look back at our picture. X, sure enough, is the width. But I'm not going to say that the width is x equals 7. I'm just going to say this. The width is 7, and we're dealing in meters. So how about 7 meters? Question 3. Let's read it. It says the length of a rectangle. Okay, so here we go again. I'm given a geometric object, a rectangle. I'm going to draw the picture. As soon as I can draw it, I'm going to do that. There's a rectangle. Now, what do we know? The rectangle is 9 inches, the length is 9 inches more than 3 times the width. If the area is 210 square inches, find the length and the width. All right, so let's see if we can get letter or variable representations for the length and the width. Now, what are we going to let x equal? Well, let's read this again. It says, the length of a rectangle is 9 inches more than 3 times the width. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm told that the length is given in terms of the width. So like a base quantity here is the width. If I know the width, the length is given in terms of the width. So I'm going to let x equal the width. And what do you know about the length? Well, the length is 9 inches more than, all right, so something plus 9, 3 times the width. All right, here's 3 times the width. That's 3 times the width, and then you want 9 more. So what do? You add 9 to it. All right, now, I know also that the area is 210, all right? So let's write down what we know. Area is 210. Now, how do you get the area of a rectangle? The area is the length times the width, and that's going to be 210. Now, what's the length here? 3x plus 9 times the width, which is x. That's equal to 210. Okay, multiply in. Now, we'll get 3x squared plus 9x. That's equal to 210. Let's go up to the top here. This is quadratic. It's quadratic, right? Squared. So let's get all the terms to the left side. So I'm going to subtract this 210. So we'll get this up here. 3x squared plus 9x minus 210 equals 0. I'm going to factor. No, now notice there's a 3 coming all the way through here. So let's factor that 3 out. If I factor a 3 out, I'm left with x squared plus, all right, 9 divided by 3 is 3x minus, now 3 goes into 21 7 times, and I got another 0, so there's going to be a 70 here. That's equal to 0. Let's factor this. So we'll get 3 times, okay, don't forget to equal 0. How about x and x? Now 70, okay, you know, what pops into my head right now is just 7 and 10. 7 and 10, I can get 70, but I can get a 3 if I add. So if you didn't see it, you'll just have to experiment around with that 70. But I'm going to use 10 and 7. The 70 is negative, so they have opposite signs. I'll put that plus sign with the bigger product. And the way I wrote it, the inner product is 10x. outer product is 7x. So 10x is bigger. So I'm going to put the plus here. I'm going to try. The minus here. So what's going to happen? I'm multiplying three numbers together. This one, and this one. I'm getting 0. One of them's got to be 0. It's not the 3, all right? So how can this be 0? What's going to make that 0? What's going to make that 0? So from the first one, x is negative 10. From the second one, x is 7. Now I got two answers here, but these two answers, they solve the quadratic equation, but which one, if both of them, maybe solve the actual problem? Here's the problem. Problem says, up here, find the length and the width. Well, the length can't be a negative number, right? You can't have a negative number, so we're gonna cross that one out. It solves the equation, but it does not make any physical sense. So we're going to say now that x is 7. But now here's what you do. X is 7. So what do? You go back here. That's 7. And then what is this? All right, so I'm going to do each one here. So x is 7. So what is 3x plus 9? Okay, that's going to be 3 times 7 plus 9. 21 plus 9. That's 30. All right, so the length... Right, the length is 30, and what do we have? Inches. 30 inches, and the width, that is, what do we say, 7 inches. There we go. That closes out the first 3 questions on our homework set 23 on applications.